Okay, my brother is reminding me, it's the fourth Jum'ah, not the third Jum'ah. I said 2:45. Okay, this is so I'm used to the old times. So 2:45 is the Jum'ah time. So this is correct. Whether it's the third or fourth, I wasn't keeping count, so my apologies. But it's the last Jum'ah, inshallah. Okay. Majid's not here, so I'll give a quick khutbah, inshallah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wa usalli wa sallim ala al-mab'uthi rahmatin lil-alamin, nabiyina Muhammadin alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi afdal salati wa azka tasneem. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Amin. So Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, we're all gathered here in this beautiful day of Jum'ah, Fajr time. And Alhamdulillah, the masjid is fairly occupied, I would say. But a lot of you remember from just kind of little more than a week ago that the masjid was completely full. So I've been thinking about this thought for myself, and I wanted just to share it with you, inshallah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, the first thing, when you find yourself in the masjid, you and I, the first thing we think about is Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Because this is just by the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He allows us to sustain such a beautiful act of worship to be held in this masjid, or any masjid for that matter, in Jama'ah. So the first thing that should come to our mind is full gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one that allowed us to do this, give us the strength, give us the ability to be in the masjid. That's number one. Two, I would like to remind myself and you, right? The Sahaba, they used to, life, again before them, or a lot of them at least, used to revolve around the month of Ramadan to a certain extent. Where they used to say that some of the Salaf, Salih, Sahaba and the Tabi'een would stay for 6 months asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they would reach Ramadan. And Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, we all reached Ramadan. If you're here, congratulations, you made it to Ramadan. But the rest of the 6 months, they would ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for acceptance of the month of Ramadan. So it was not that far away. So I'm reminding you and I, right, that we continue asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from us whatever it is that we have done in terms of acts of worship. I truly tell myself all the time when I make my dua, says, Ya Allah, please accept from us, regardless of how much little we've done, or how much this has not been perfected, or because no matter how much we do ibadah, how much we act in any times of act of worship, there's no way we can reach the level of the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You cannot repay Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all His mercy and bounty that He gives us. So we do it, and that's why we do it, and we ask, Ya Allah, even though I was able, by your help, your grace, your mercy, your energy, your power, everything that you've given me, I was just able to do that much little stuff, I still ask you, Allah, so you can forgive me, even if it was not perfected, even if it was not like the way it should be. Knowing that I'm not going to ever reach this level of perfection. But I know I'm striving towards it. So that's the second point I want to make. The third point is, we are all ambassadors. You and I, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, have been blessed to be here, as I mentioned. But you and I have, to a certain level, obligation one way or the other, to remind others around us in the most nice and beautiful way. If you're here, I said congratulations. Ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But a lot of times, I said, I remember myself and I remember my family as well. And that's what I'm asking you to do. When you go back to your families, I always tell my family, say, we cannot go from 0 to 0. Whatever that you've done in Ramadan, that can be an extra 2-3 pages of Qur'an of Quran. That can be 2 rak'ahs extra. That can be the 20 rak'ahs of Taraweeh. That can be 8 rak'ahs of Taraweeh. Whatever it is, you and I know that, alhamdulillah, we acted. For those of us who are able to do it, we have fasted the whole month. So we cannot go from full capacity to 0. But in the same time, we have to be realistic. You cannot go from full capacity and maintain the full capacity. Some people are able to do that. The majority are not. So if I'm praying 20 rak'ahs of Taraweeh or 8 rak'ahs of Taraweeh, don't stop completely. Make it a habit for you and I to have just 2 extra rak'ahs, maybe after Isha. That's it. If you're, alhamdulillah, one of these people who are maintaining their sunnah prayers, right? Just add more to it. So if you're maintaining like the regular 12, 14 rak'ahs, whatever it is, that is like the 2 before Fajr, 4 before Dhuhr, 2 after Dhuhr, 2 after Maghrib, 2 after Isha, that's kind of the standard. If you're doing that, you need to still add. I recommend for you to add, I said the 2 rak'ahs after Isha. Or you add the 2 rak'ahs of duha. Okay? The rak'ahs of duha, which happens after the shuruq, after the sunrise, you pray the 2 rak'ahs. As a matter of fact, there's a beautiful hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam talking, and said that all of us here, when they wake up in the morning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I guess if there's kind of a semi-obligation, there's that we need to give a sadaqah for every single joint in our body. For every single morsel, there needs to give a sadaqah. And he says, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the hadith says, that's giving a charity is sadaqah, saying a good word is sadaqah, and so forth. At the end of the hadith, and he says, and what suffices over all of this to pay off basically your daily debt of sadaqah on all of the joints is 2 rak'ahs of duha. 2 rak'ahs of duha pays off this kind of daily debt that we have. So it's a nice thing to add to this. Your relationship with the Quran, the same exact thing. And I said, but the obligation is what? That we all maintain and sustain a level that is up a notch, a step from where we were before Ramadan. And saying we're not expected, all of us. We said some of us, alhamdulillah, are able to maintain a very involved acts of worship throughout the whole year. But some of us, or the majority of us, we go down to a level that is before Ramadan, that is better than what we were, after Ramadan, we were better than what we were before Ramadan. But I said the last thing is, make sure that you remind a friend, a family member, or someone else. If you have someone else come with you to the masjid is going to be full. If you tell one of your family members or your friends or your colleagues, is like, again, read a little bit more, just remind them. And the reminder is what Rasulullah ﷺ also told us. He says what? أَحَبُّ الْأَعْمَالِ إِلَى اللَّهِ أَدْوَمُهَا وَإِنْ قَلَّ. So the most beloved acts of worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or acts to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, are those who are sustained, that are continuous, that are consistent, even if there are few. So it's better to, let's say, pray, I'm just giving an example, to pray these 2 extra rak'ahs that I told you about every single night, than to come once a month and say, I'm going to pray 20 rak'ahs. You can do that as well, but even if the 20 rak'ahs, if you're consistently doing every month, just make it a regiment, make it a habit, make it something that is consistent. Consistency is what is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasulullah told us, this is what is beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Consistently doing an extra act of worship, even if it's a little bit. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the ability to maintain this connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to increase the connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to do all of these acts sincere to Him and Him only. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fill our heart with iman, fill our hearts with the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and makes us among those who follow in the footsteps of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from us Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us those ambassadors for good, for enjoining what is good, asking people to do what is good. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to do it in the most beautiful and nicest fashion ever we can do. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله.